Hi, I'm Beck and welcome to the Anti-TBR Tag. This is the tag where I describe, based on questions, what books I probably am not going to read. First question is a popular book that everyone loves, but you have no interest in reading. And I've got two. The first one would be a TJ Klune book, and that is In the Lives of Puppets, mostly because as a person I just don't really love fairy tale retellings, and I think this is a Pinocchio retelling. And additionally, I only love the Green Creek series by this author. I've tried several other books by him and I'm like, I don't feel the vibe. So because it really isn't ticking my boxes, I'm not going to even try In the Lives of Puppets. And another one that I'm also not even going to try at all is Yellowface by R.F. Kuang. I know this is a book where the main character is incredibly unlikable because she is a white woman who steals the novel of an Asian woman, passes it off as her own after the Asian woman's death, and gets all her accolades. They're both academics, I think, but the white woman is struggling more than the other. And while I love R.F. Kuang's investigation and discussion and themes in Babel, which is a very similar kind of focused academic story about how the British invaded and took over everybody and really exploited all of these minorities. Magic was involved in Babel, and I enjoyed Babel because I could listen to the audiobook and I knew that magic was involved, and you kind of need magic to tip me over the edge sometimes. But I also didn't love The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. I loved the first 2/3 and I hated the end. So I think based on that mixed response to her books, I'm not going to touch Yellowface. I don't think it would be something I would like. Question 2 is a classic author that you have no interest in reading, and I read A Little Life by Hanya Yangahara, and it was such a dark book and it was so bleak that I was like, I foresee no continuations for this author for me in the future. And I think they've released another book, and while I can respect the themes from a distance, I have zero desire to go back to that because it was very intense. Not to say that the subject matter of her new book will be anything like A Little Life, but I just didn't like how long it was too, because I don't really read literary fiction anyway. And then I was like, I own this book, I should read it. That was a mistake. I should have unhauled it because it put me in a depressive funk for several days where I couldn't actually do anything creative. I couldn't read anything else. I could barely even play video games in Animal Crossing. And that's when you know it's dire. So I'm like, nope. Vetoed, not doing this again. Then we've got question 3, which is an author whose books you have no interest in reading, is Ali Hazelwood. I DNF'd the first book, Love Hypothesis series, and I was like, these are infuriating characters. I don't like her writing style, and I don't foresee myself continuing with any of her books. Maybe if she brings something out in another series, I might consider borrowing the audiobook from the library, but I honestly have zero drive to pick up her work. Then we've got question 4, which is an author that you've read a couple of books from and you have decided their books are not for you. Wolfsong is my one and only true love from TJ Klune, the Green Creek series rather. I love that series. The first 2 books were 5 stars for me. I read Under the Whispering Door, I DNF'd House in the Cerulean Sea, I have no interest in reading In the Lives of Puppets. I just don't think TJ Klune in general is a favourite author, but this series is a favourite series of mine. So I'm willing to kind of push everything else out that he's done, and I'll be more than happy with doing that. Then we've got question 5, which is more genre based. So it's a genre that you have no interest in reading, or a genre that you've tried and you just don't think it's for you. And can I say a whole category of fiction, adult fiction? I tried A Man Called Uva, and while I liked it in a general blanket statement sense, I just don't feel like I personally found a spark with it, to be honest. While it had great takeaways and really nice relationships built into the story, I just didn't feel very emotionally invested. When things eventuated in the story, I was like, this is great, this is cool, thumbs up. Beyond that, I just didn't feel it. So I think just as a category, it's not for me. I keep trying and I keep getting disappointed and I keep getting myself into reading slumps. So I think I just need to recognize it. Question 6 is a book that you've bought, but you think you will never read. And this could be a library book as well. I borrowed Children of Time, which I thought was going to be an epic dystopian sci-fi series in a space opera setting. But then I read the first couple of lines and I was like, I don't think I can get into this. So I just returned it. And as a sci-fi and fantasy reader, I feel a lot of shame about doing that because I thought I'd love that series. And so many people have said, oh, I can't wait to hear your thoughts on Children of Time. Well, it's like there's zero thoughts Additionally, I have A Frugal Wizard's Guide to Medieval London. I've got this one, and then Yumi, the other book by him from his Kickstarter. And for some reason, I feel like these are going to sit on my to be read cart for a long time. I feel like I've just got them because of the nice covers. And I subscribed to his Kickstarter and backed it ages ago, so I'm getting the really nice pretty editions. This isn't even out of the plastic yet, so I feel like they're just going to sit there like relics for a while, but I honestly feel no momentum or drive or motivation to read them at the moment, so they might end up getting read next year. I have finished Tress of the Emerald Sea though. I have a review for that at least, so at least I started something, but it's not like they're in a series. They're just kind of in his Kickstarter, so I don't feel as bad not starting these, but I need to start them at some point. Question 8 is a series you have no interest in reading, or a series that you have DNF'd, which means did not finish, so you just put it down. I don't know if I'm going to regret including this for this question because I'm pre-filming this video before I finish doing this reading vlog, but Her Majesty's Royal Coven, the sequel, The Shadow Cabinet, I'm worried I'm going to DNF it again, and I'm reading it for a reading vlog where all of the books are the same color. So it's a ridiculously unhinged theme for a reading vlog, but I thought, why take it seriously when all I want to do is try and finish some stuff that is just piling up on my TBR cart. So I'm trying to read the sequel, and I've DNF'd this book once, and then I finished reading it, gave it about 3.5 stars, and then I DNF'd the second book once, and I've tried it again 2 months later. So I'm like, is this series meant to be? I really don't know. I've also borrowed the audiobook on BorrowBox, which is a library service, and that's available early November. So maybe even if I DNF it one more time, I can try it on audiobook and try and do a final push, and then I'll be done with it for good. So will this get unhauled or will I keep it? And then we get to the final question on this tag, which is question 8, which is a new release that you have no interest in reading. And I didn't think I had any interest in reading this book, and it is Fourth Wing. I'm hesitant about holding the cover up just because it's very shiny, but this one came to me from a publisher and it's so popular. I was convinced I was going to hate it, but I read it and, you know, I enjoyed it enough to want to continue the sequel, which I think is Iron Flame. It's coming out early November. I think it might be around the 7th. I thought I'd hate this, and I actually enjoyed it. I have a respect for the main character who called things out as she saw them and didn't just kind of let them fester inside and then expect the main characters to read her mind. It seemed a bit ridiculous. The world building wasn't very consistent, but honestly, it's just about dragons and I'm more than happy to read about those. So I didn't take it too seriously, and in return I enjoyed it. Something that I thought I'd hate actually plot twisted me into, that's not too bad. And that's the only new release that I can think of, because I don't really follow along with a lot of new releases unless they're by authors that I've already read before and I really want to continue series or pick up something new that they've released. So ultimately that is the end of this book tag, but if there are any books that you do not want to read, let me know down below in the comments. If they're my favorites, please be nice. But thank you so much for watching this tag. I'll come and talk to you in the comments, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.